Welcome back. Nigeria is working towards increasing its crude production to above 2 million barrels per day. This is according to the Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachukwu. Dr. Kachukwu, in its latest podcast, shares some key achievements of the past 2 years, key deliveries of the present, and key look ahead for the future.
Then to a big picture of 2018 and early 2019. What are the key things we're going to focus? First is refineries. I've talked about it so often, I'm almost repeating myself. It is important that we get those refineries working. We must stop importation of petroleum products in 2019. And we're happy that Dangote is working very hard and bringing back his deadline for delivery on some of his own projects. If we can do this and save the country over 30% of FX application on importing petroleum products, would have done this country a world of good. So we're working feverishly at that. Gas flare commercialization, we've launched it, it's taken off. We're continuing to deepen our engagement with oil companies on this to ensure that we're able to exit gas flare in over 500 sites where where there is gas flare. And we're also deepening taking in gas into the hinterlands, whether it's LPG, whether it's LNG, whatever it is, through whatever mechanisms we have. Infrastructure is key for us. Our infrastructure is 30, 40 years old, completely dilapidated, can't be funded by government anymore. P2P policies must be put in place, and working with NNPC, DPR, and local content group to ensure that very soon in 2008 we can launch our infrastructural map rebirth, which would bring in people to invest in our pipelines, invest in our depots, and open up in this industry for expansion. We have to focus on regulation. The Assembly is working on PIB, various components of PIB. We need to work collaboratively with them to get this quickly to the finish line, because that is essential for stability in this sector. Then there's the issue of crude tracking. How do we track every molecule of product that we have refined and produced? Crude and refined products. We're putting together IT platforms that will enable us to do this, and working with DPR so that hopefully by 2019, the issues of whether we could account for our crude no longer occur. The revenues are key. We need to expand revenues. I've talked about the work we're doing on PSC, the work we're doing on fiscals to enable us increase our revenues. But there are all kinds of accelerated revenue schemes that we're working on to improve the revenue base of the federal government. Efficiency is key for us. How do we improve efficiency? Efficiency includes crude tracking, includes cost reduction. Cost of production, still an issue for us. $23 a barrel, not acceptable. I've already said we need to very shortly in 2018 begin to move this closer to $15 a barrel. That will be a major, major savings area. So it's something we're working on collaboratively.
Dr. Ibe Kachukwu, Minister of State for Petroleum. In the meantime, oil prices were stable early today, supported by a tightening market due to ongoing OPEC-led efforts to cut supplies, although the prospect of rising U.S. shale output dragged. Brent crude futures, the international benchmark for oil prices, were at $60.78 per barrel. That was 12 cents below their last settlement, but still not far off the highest level since July 2015, reached earlier this week, and up some 37% since their 2017 lows last June. U.S. West Texas intermediate crude futures were at $54.05 a barrel, 10 cents below their last close, but that was still near their highest level since February and up around 28% since 2017 lows marked in June. And for more on the oil market, I'm being joined by a research analyst with financial derivatives company, Damilare Adeshola. Good afternoon, Damilare. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, much to the surprise of the market, oil prices have crossed the threshold of $60 per barrel. Can you highlight the primary driving forces behind this price rally we have seen recently?
So right now in the market, what is driving the bullish movement is really just the signals from OPEC. We've heard comments from Saudi Arabia and Russian representatives indicating that OPEC is looking or considering extending its cut agreement deadlines. The deadline was originally March 2018, and we're looking at a possible extension of this deadline to December 2018. So really the market is just responding to that expectation, which indicates that there will be a reduction in supply July in 2018. And in addition to this as well, there's been a decline in global inventories as well as an increase in Chinese demand. We've seen in 2017, Chinese demand for oil has grown by about 7%, which is double the growth rate of 2016. So it's really just the interplay of all these factors that has been driving the bullish market, the bullish movement in the oil market.
All right, is this temporary, or should we expect prices to relapse to October's average of about 57 barrels per day?
Well, so initially we find that there are a lot of analysts being concerned that the oil prices are moving too fast, too soon. While their worries are legit, we need to understand that the fundamentals in the oil market has shifted. And if you see a year ago, when oil prices were about $48 per barrel, and OPEC came to come and introduce cut agreements into the market, oil prices shot up to about $50 per barrel. At that time, a lot of analysts' consensus projections for 2017 was about $48 per barrel, and the most optimistic of them being about $52 per barrel. But right now, we've seen year-to-date average of about 53, almost $54 per barrel, and we're expecting even it to move up to almost $55 per barrel for the year average. So what we find is that we believe that oil prices are flirting with a new price range of $60 per barrel, and it's very, very possible that it's going to stay at this level and even inch up in the medium term. But it's important to note that there's one unknown, that is the U.S. on shale production. It's possible that U.S. shale producers may be looking to take advantage of higher prices by boosting up their own production. And if they do this, definitely it would dampen the effect of the OPEC extension cuts. So these are just some of the considerations in the market. But we do expect, aside from this, that oil prices will stay at the current level and even inch up in the medium term.
Now, Damilare, just a quick one before I let you go. The Minister of State for Petroleum in his recent podcast says that they are looking at Nigeria producing above 2 million barrels. That's going into 2018, 2019. How achievable is that?
I would say that it's very achievable, considering the fact that Nigeria, with the engagement with the militants in the Niger Delta region, I would say that it's very, very achievable. And even right now, at the moment, even with 1.86 done in December, 1.86 million barrels per day, if you add the condensates to it, which is about 300 to 400,000, we find that we're already over 2 million barrels per day. But just because we can increase capacity doesn't mean that we will, especially in the light of cap of 1.8 million barrels per day. So what we may find is that the authorities will consider, because if we increase ramp up production, we will become a threat to the ongoing OPEC cut agreement. So we may be included in the next batch of agreements, and so that's something that we will be looking to avoid. So we believe that we'll keep production at the current levels of about 1.8, moving up to maybe 1.89 in the month of October. But we don't believe that, aside from condensates, that's not including condensates, we don't believe that we're going to move above the current levels.
All right, Damilare, thank you very much for your time. And a quick one just before we go. Chad is on a collision course with top creditor Glencore as it wants to divert oil from the Swiss trading house to U.S. energy company ExxonMobil from the new year amid a dispute over debt restructuring. And finally, MTN sees a $4.2 billion claim by Turkcell in a South African court over a disputed Iranian mobile phone license as opportunistic and baseless after filing a defense plea. And that's it on the program for today. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimizi Obi Iwago.